What are the most intrinsic, intuitive human values? Like, what is going to separate our humanity from AI, from digital truths, from this fractionalization of truth and reality? What are fundamental truths that we all do? What does that mean? I would say that it seems like one thing we all do as a species, as a whole, is we try to improve. Very few people individually don't try to improve on some level, because it's a reward system. If you improve your life, you improve your balance, you improve your thought processes, your perspective, your reality, right? And tech is often created as a tool that sometimes gets bastardized, right? It's like if you go back to prehistoric times and you think about them, and they began to use rocks and sticks to create fire, to hunt, to battle, right? A rock got bastardized. It could create fire. It could help like protect, but it was also a weapon. So that's like it's a double-edged sword of all type of creation and technology, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. So many people demonize it because they are scared. They are afraid, always afraid. So I think that's one human value. Another I used to think was creativity, but after seeing some of the AI art, like, AI is creative. So I think you got to get with clever. Is AI clever? Yeah, maybe. It can dupe you into believing things. Some of the more advanced AI. So out of the box thinkers. There's a value that is human, but not everybody's an out of the box thinker. Fear. Can AI be afraid? Maybe, but probably not. Love. I used to think intelligence was a certain level of a human value, but it is to an extent. But now you can just recreate intelligence. So leadership, there you go. That's also another reason why communities are going to be fractured and why people are going to be fractured. They're going to find their leaders, whether it be a thought leader or a religious leader, a political leader, a cult leader, a creative leader. They're going to find their leaders for sure. So it's an interesting thought, right? Like, how is this going to look? Can AI think? To a certain extent. They think have you ever met a non-creative person? Somebody who just isn't intuitively or instinctually creative. Like, it takes effort for them to be more creative, right? In the same way that someone like me, who I consider myself very creative. I'm a very creative thought process. I've not been putting a lot of output with my creativity in my art lately, but nevertheless, I'm a creative thinker for sure, clever thinker for sure, but sit me down and try to get me to do economic analysis. I get it to some extent, but I can't do it. Get me to algebra in math. My brain doesn't work that way. I can't code either because I don't have the ability to sit down and look for the problems in the code if there is a problem. So It's not that I don't intellectually understand it, I just won't do it. And it's my ADD, it's the way my brain works, it's the chemistry of my brain. So I think a lot of people have their own things, and you know, all of this is on a kind of sliding scale. What's the word I'm looking for here? It's on a scale, right? Some people are ADD just a tiny bit, some are more ADD, some are ADHD, some are depressed, some are more depressed, some are smart, some are smarter, some are creative, some are more creative, and some of those, like, nobody has. There's people that aren't depressed at all, don't have any form of depression. So something to think about. It's definitely something on my mind. Like, what does it mean to be human as AI grows, and how can you personally handle that? Because as truth becomes fractionalized, and as anybody can create a quote-unquote truth based on a certain level of idolization, or maybe love or connection to another human being, they will react and interact in the world in a way that may not always be logical, because I don't know why. And I like to say maybe it's because they're not self-aware. I think like extreme self-awareness is important. And I think once you become very self-aware of who you are and who you are not, you become more confident. And that confidence comes out in, oh, I'm gonna lean head in to my top skills, and realize, oh, I don't do this very well, so therefore I have to find a solution. And AI is one solution, right? Or another human being could be a solution. I think AI is gonna get better. It's still not 100% there, but it's gonna get better. So once you have that confidence and that self-awareness, you'll be able to kind of pick out better who to follow, right? Like, and what values you have and don't have. And I think it'll be more, you'll have a better understanding of others. So that's all something to really consider. Leave in the comments what you think the core meanings of being human is. Like, what separates us as a species from this upcoming onslaught of AI truth, for a lack of better frame or better phrase, but it's definitely a framework to work within. Everything we know is changing. Reality is shifting. Reality is becoming fragmented. The world is moving into more and more community-based thought processes, and therefore it will fractionalize a lot of us. But it will also bring a lot of us closer, and a lot of us will be able to do our true passions. Let me explain. Even on YouTube is getting broken up into communities. It always has been partially community-based, but with this new algorithm and the changes monetarily, smaller subscriber groups, 500 plus, the creator can begin to monetize the audience. The only reason an audience wants to be monetized is because that creator provides value on a regular basis, and they feel an affinity to that human. They relate to them, whether it be in thought process, or maybe the value is the advice or the new thoughts that they are given because they like what the creator is doing. Maybe it's also partially merchandise. So you've got that, and then you have all these sci-fi elements coming through, right? You've got AI, you've got Web3, you have space travel, you've got aliens, you've got the metaverse, augmented reality, virtual reality. Like, what do you find yourself into? Like, which one gets to you the most? Which one are you studying? Which one is on your radar? Which one are you thinking about more often than others? Some of them are going to be undeniable. Not all of us are going to get to go on a commercial travel to space. Not all of us, currently at least, are going to see an alien, but all of us will experience AI. And I'm pretty sure we're getting closer to where all of us will have to experience crypto. Still might be 5 years away or something, but we're getting closer. It's definitely going to become more of the dialogue coming up really soon. Like, what do you identify within that sci-fi group? And then, you know, in America, at least, there's the culture war, right? There is conservatives versus liberals, even Trumpians versus liberals versus conservatives on some level. Like, where do you stand there? Well, that type of thought process is only going to get exaggerated. I mean, one thing I know from like Amazon, and I'm guessing this has already happened in other countries, but I have to go study it, is that the internet got fractionalized into recommendations from a human being. And I know that like Amazon is going in that direction, so something to think about. And they're not doing it for their health, you know, they're doing it because they already know. They're not in a position where they have to go invent. They just take other samples of what has happened, picking up dog poop, what has happened already somewhere else. Because at this point, to do anything, they got to spend a lot of money, and they're going to be money conscious on that level. So things are going to get weird. Who do you rely on? It's kind of like even these different social medias, right? Whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or Clapper or Tumblr or some Reddit, somewhere that wherever I post this, or wherever it gets posted, or wherever it gets remixed, quote unquote, if it does, then that's a community all on its own, right? Like, do you know multiple people and interact with the same people across all the socials on a regular basis? And if you do they act differently? Because, like, I'm sure there's a big difference between LinkedIn and Twitter when you interact with somebody. Definitely Reddit and LinkedIn when you interact with someone. So those are different communities. Those are different thought processes. In a way, we've already been fractionalized, but it's going to get fractioned even more, I think. And truth is going to become hard to tell. Like AI versus like a deep fake, right? Versus what is actually, how do you know I'm not a deep fake right now? I have no way of proving that unless I create an NFT of this video to prove and put it on the timeline that, hey, I'm not a deep fake. And maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe I have to go through some Web3 video sharing platforms, Deso, or I'm sure there's a few others, I can't remember, and like post these just to prove that this was real and not deepfake. Like, you can't call my authenticity into question by doing that. So that's super interesting. The world is going to be fractionalized, truth is going to be fractionalized, but we're going to be community based, and a lot of us, based on those communities, like, you're going to be able to get paid and make money to be a member of that community. How and why, I don't 100% know, but it has to do with Web3 and crypto and NFT and DAO factors for sure. The elements are there. People are trying to figure it out and put it together, but not a lot of people think about shared community, like shared profits, or shared economy rather. Most people think about greed and making all the money. So I guess we'll find out. I know I'm working on some things. We'll see. I actually really believe that statement. That's not only like some random graffiti artist in Portland leaving it for all of us to read, or those that are paying attention to read, but I actually believe that the best is yet to come. This world of tech, some people are demonizing it, especially a city like Portland. Strange, they're demonizing it, but I think that life is going to get easier and better, and the problem isn't the tech. The problem is people, and people living in fear all the time over everything. And people fear change, and this is a big one. AI, Web3, it's like a shift in mentality. Web3 still has a little bit to go because it's got to become just easier to use. Come on, Coco. But we're getting there, and soon all of us will have ownership over whatever we want, really. We'll have our own economies. We will have our own communities. We'll be like fans of certain communities in the same way people are fans of a sports team. You know, it's a group experience, right? It's fun. Perhaps it needs to be gamified somehow. There needs some level of competition that fans feel like they're a part of, or like the community feels like they're a part of. But I think that's right. I think gamifying it and seeing the new world as communities become more and more like sports. I mean, if you look at the YouTube algorithm, I know like probably not a lot of you pay attention to that, but like I've been looking into it a lot lately, and they recently just made a big change. Like as of a few days ago of recording this video, they made a big change so that smaller creators can start to monetize their audience. Once you have 500 subscribers and I don't remember how many hours of viewership, but you can start to monetize your audience. And the only reason somebody wants to be monetized is because they are a fan, right? You're providing value. Well, what kind of value does a sports team provide? It provides community. It provides entertainment. It provides experiences, right? And those fans have been monetized, not only in watching, going to the game for an experience, but buying merchandise. Everybody gets monetized. So how do you do that in this upcoming world, right? YouTube is allowing you to monetize that community, and I think a lot of things are going to be more and more community based, and there's gonna be more and more like fan bases with more and more like different people, big or small, and therefore reality is even gonna get fractured, because you're gonna start to see the world via the perception of whoever you're following, whoever like the main voice is, the leader is of whoever you're following. So something truly interesting to think about. Speaking of following, you can follow my dog if you want on Instagram. I'll link it below. Coco, say hi. It's a nice neighborhood, but I question, how often do you pay attention to the details? And so this one kind of sucks because that's NFT Catcher podcast, and then someone put a sticker over it. I'm not a fan of that idea personally, because stickers are very much like NFTs, and NFTs are very much like AI art as far as the creative look and feel and vibe of them. But what people don't understand is NFTs have a completely different use case, right? It's ownership. It's not only digital art. Digital art's only the beginning of what it can do. In fact, digital art is a very tiny part of an NFT. NFT is software. NFTs are ownership. NFTs are certificates of ownership, deeds. NFTs will be tickets. NFTs will be an imprint on a digital timeline eventually. Also, wrap your mind around this and what I mean by it. I'm not going to explain it in this video, but like NFTs will disrupt the watch. It might be 10 years from now, 15 years from now, but it's going to happen. And so here's an interesting connection, right? You've got AI art and you have NFT art, and generally speaking, like the PFPs within NFTs, profile pics, all kind of feel like AI art in a way. But some of those, a lot of those also feel like stickers. So there's this like kind of common denominator as far as a style and feeling and like in a way a vibe goes, and what will it mean in the long run, and how do you connect all three? Like, how is that going to affect society? Because as AI art becomes more and more prominent and it becomes easier to do, and prompting gets easier, and there's more and more people doing it on a regular basis, some will be professionals. I still hold to that, but for the most part, it's like picking up your phone and taking a picture. Anybody can do it. Doesn't mean it's going to be great every time. It doesn't mean everybody has the time to go do it, or even ultimate desire to go do it. I just dropped my glasses. Even ultimate desire to do it, but people will. And when the world is filled digitally with that type of feeling and vibe and art, what does it mean? Like, you may just straight up see more graffiti like that too. Will there be more stickers? I think there should be. I think there should be a lot more stickers that look like that. Come on, Coco. So we'll see. We'll see how that will affect literally everything, and how we see the world and how we vibe with the world. I like the world when it's much more colorful and plentiful of art everywhere. People forget about that. People think that AI art is going to take their job as an artist, but it's also going to fill the world with art all the time, constantly, easily, consistently.